What is the last handgun that you would ever get rid of? Now, if you are very much of a firearms collector, a firearms enthusiast, you have no doubt considered that very question. And to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure that even if I'm making this video that I'm 100% sure of my choice. In fact, I'm not 100% sure that I've even made it yet, so that's why I'm kind of rambling here. But I've laid out, looks like 7 different firearms here. And I'll have to adjust my camera for you to see the last one. So there's 7 different firearms laid out here on the table that I really like for a number of different reasons. And so what I want to first do is kind of narrow this down to a top 5. And so what I'm thinking about in choosing, what would be the last firearm that, or rather, not really firearm, but handgun that I would ever get rid of, I'm looking for a couple of things. Number one, I want it to be something that I like. In fact, I like to feel like I have something special in my collection, even if my collection is only one. I like to feel maybe a little bit unique. Maybe I'm being a conformist and being a nonconformist. I don't know. But I want to have something special, something that I enjoy, something that I really like. That's maybe not the most important thing, as if you're looking at this channel, you probably know that that's not the reason that we have a Second Amendment, but we'll just call it a happy perk. Another thing that I want to look for in these firearms is I want something that I can fight with. If I had to protect the life and limb of my family, I would want something that I could rely on. I think any one of these firearms laying out on the table fit that bill. But I also want to be able to, in a discreet manner, be well equipped to protect the life and limb of my family away from my home. That means that I need something that I can and will carry on a daily basis. And then kind of another thing that might be a perk is I would like to have a firearm that could potentially take care of more than one threat. So for example, maybe not just 2-legged critters, but 4-legged critters that would do me or my family great bodily harm or perhaps kill us. So first of all, I'll just start with a couple of honorable mentions here, if you will. My FNX-45. That is my current home defense firearm. I absolutely adore that gun. I shoot it really well. It is a double stack 45. It's a big old hunk of a thing. It holds 15 rounds in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber. And I really like this gun. Shoot it really well, and it's my home defense gun. Now the reason that I give it maybe the honorable mention status is because as much as I love this gun, it is not all that special to me. It doesn't mean anything. It's not sentimental. I could, assuming that I were still allowed to buy firearms, which I am right now, I'm just saying in this hypothetical scenario where I'm having to pick only one, maybe I wouldn't be, but I could buy another one. In fact, if I had to do over again, I would probably get the tactical model with suppressor height sights and the threaded barrel and all that good stuff. So it's not all that sentimental, despite being a great gun. Another thing is, I mentioned that it is a big old honking gun. And so if this were the only firearm that I had, I probably wouldn't carry it very often, and I certainly wouldn't be able to conceal it very well. I have tried, but it's a whopper of a gun. It's a big man-sized gun. So we're going to set that one aside in my honorable mention stack. The next firearm that I will give honorable mention to is my Mark 25. This is my Sig Sauer P226. Sometimes people call it a P226 Navy, but it is the P226 Mark 25. It has a little anchor emblem on there. Also adore this gun. The magazine that's in it right now is a 20-round magazine. So you can get 20-round magazines, 18-round magazines, and 15-round magazines for this gun. I shoot this gun very well, which I should probably quit saying that because I shoot pretty much all of my guns well. I'm not saying that I'm an expert or anything, but I can put shots on the target. Anyway, So I'll list this one in the honorable mention category also because while it is a kind of a special gun, it in a way commemorates what many would consider to be one of the most elite fighting forces in the world, and certainly in the United States, and that is our United States Navy SEALs. This was their issue weapon for many years. But this firearm itself, I bought it for myself. It doesn't really hold any special meaning besides the fact that I just really like it. It also is a fairly large gun. If I were going to carry this style weapon, I would probably opt for the M11 or some variant of the P229, the compact variant. But it is a great gun, and so I'll put it in honorable mention status, set it aside. Okay, so that leaves us with this is an Ed Brown Kobra carry. This is a Glock 19. It is it's a Gen 3, but it's a RTF2 Vickers Tactical variant. It's a Lipsy's exclusive. This is a Glock 29 SF, just stock, nothing fancy about it. This is a Smith & Wesson, it's a model 327 R8. It's a 357 Magnum in-frame, 8-shot. And this is a Springfield XD. This is a 40 caliber. It's the tactical model. I've showed it in another video before. So if I had to maybe throw, first of all, let me explain why these guns are in this category. These two firearms are in the video because of what I mentioned about a weapon that's equipped with a caliber that's able to do maybe more than one job. I could take care of two-legged critters as well as most four-legged critters with the 10mm and certainly with the 357 Magnum. And so for that reason, they're here. And with the Glock 29, most of you probably know that you can use the Glock 20 magazines, which hold 15 rounds, so you can have a little bit higher capacity there compared to a standard capacity gun. This is small enough that I could carry on my belt. I could carry it inside the waistband, probably appendix carry it. I know some friends of mine, law enforcement officers, ankle carry the Glock 30, which is same frame, just a 45 instead of a 10mm. So it's definitely concealable, definitely carryable, and definitely we get the job done. 357 Magnum may be a little large, but it is lightweight. It's one of Smith & Wesson's scandium frame revolvers, and I can take this top rail off. I don't know if you can see there, but there's some little hex screws there that I can remove this to make it take up a little bit smaller profile for carry. But it is 8 shots of 357 Magnum, and I have some moon clips for it, and despite the fact that it is a revolver, I can reload this revolver fairly quickly, arguably, and admittedly not as quickly as the semi-automatics, but I can still get the job done with that. So that's why those two are there. Now the Springfield is not a special firearm at all for probably anyone watching this aside from myself. The only reason that this one is in this category is because it was my first handgun that I bought with my own money. And so it kind of holds a special place in my heart. And I mentioned in another video that I made with this, I wish I would have maybe made a different choice. But it is a great firearm. It works really, really well. It's a 40 caliber. It's maybe not the best caliber in the world, but it is a fully capable round. I've never been happy with the fact that it only holds 12 rounds. I think I mentioned that before. This is a very large gun, and because it was my first gun, I did carry this concealed for a while, and then went to something else. But that's why that's in my top 5. It's sentimental to me. The Ed Brown is here because, well, number one, I really like 1911s. Of all of my 1911s, this one is probably my favorite just because, to me, this is just a stunning, beautiful work of art. And on top of that, it gets the job done. It will work, I assure you. But it's just absolutely beautiful. I love the snakeskin texturing on the back strap and on the front strap, and the serrations there. Really cool the way that they've done that. I really like the looks of the bobtail. I think some people maybe don't like that, but I do, and that's functional too. Lends itself to better concealability. And it's a commander-sized weapon, so 4-inch barrel, a little bit smaller than your 5-inch government models. So really nice gun. In addition to all of that, this was my wedding present. So, you know, wife gets a ring. I got an Ed Brown. I wish I could say wife got a Harry Winston, I got an Ed Brown, but she didn't get a Harry Winston. It's not quite that fancy. She did get a nice ring, but it's not that nice. Anyway, but that was my wedding present, and I carried it on my wedding day. So it is a beautiful firearm and a capable caliber that will get the job done, that I could carry. It's a little heavy, but I could carry it, and it is very sentimental to me. And I guess this list would not be complete without the do-all on everybody's list, which is probably a Glock 19. Again, this is the Vickers Tactical RTF2. It's still a Gen 3. Basically just has the Tango Down Vickers base plates. It has the little plug here that is outfitted with a little disassembly tool, if you needed that, also from Tango Down. Extended slide stop, extended mag release, and the Wilson Combat U-notch rear fiber optic front sight. So also the grip texturing on this is really neat. It's a bit more aggressive than the Gen 4 grip texturing. So really good feel on the hand. It's not going anywhere, at least doesn't feel like it. So it's a Glock 19, but it's kind of a special Glock 19. It's a special issue. Now again, this was something that I bought on a whim in a gun shop for myself, so there's no real true sentimental value to this firearm. I have a friend that really wants it, so maybe that's part of it too, is to say, hey, look at this, nana boo boo. I don't know. But a Glock 19 is always good to have on the list. 9mm is a perfectly capable caliber, especially with modern ammunition. There are beaucoup and beaucoup and beaucoup of accessories, lights, holsters, magazines. Magpul makes magazines for these, which I've actually had good luck with. I don't trust the Pro Mag stuff, but Magpul, I trust the name, and I've picked up some of those magazines for the Glocks, and they do work well for me so far. So all kinds of things available for the Glock. And in addition to it being kind of on maybe a similar size profile as a Commander 1911, it's about the same length and height. It's quite a bit thicker. Your 1911, of course, is a single stack gun. But the Glock 19 is very lightweight. I think the Glock 19 weighs in right about 23 ounces unloaded. So this may definitely be among the lightest of the firearms here, but it is a little bit thicker than the Ed Brown, so it's going to stick out a little bit more. But I have concealed carried Glock 19 before. I have a Raven Concealment Island holster that works really well for this. I really like it. We'll probably be getting a Tier 1 for the Glock 19 probably in the very near future, since I picked up one for the P365, as you saw in another video. Really like that holster. So narrow this down. Glock 29, standard Glock, stock. It's not a special gun. I don't think Glocks are ugly necessarily, but it's not a special gun. It's not a sentimental gun. And though it would definitely get the job done, if I were speaking strictly from let me keep something around that's going to do everything that I need to do, this might be the one. It's just not sentimental enough for me. And we all have our different reasons for this list. And again, I'm not 100% sure that I've made up my mind, even after this video. But I'm gonna put the Glock 29 SF as number 5. Number 4, though my XD was my first gun, and kind of by association, my first love. I do love my XD. It shoots great. But like I said, I've never been happy with that being my first choice, even though it was a good first choice. I could have done better. And so why keep disappointment around? Let's go ahead and make my Springfield XD Tactical .40 caliber number 4 on my list. Again, only because it is sentimental. If it weren't for the sentimentability, I'm not sure if that's a word. If it weren't for sentiment, it may not even, in fact, it definitely would not make the top 5. So we'll move that out. And now we're left with the top 3. Ed Brown Kobra carry, Glock 19 RTF2, and the Smith & Wesson 327 R8. And 327, by the way, again, that's just the model number. This is a 357 Magnum model 327. Because of the size profile of that thing, I'm going to probably have to make the R8 number 3. I love the fact that this is a 357 Magnum relative to some steel frame 357 Magnums. This is relatively lightweight, and 8 rounds of 357 Magnum is fantastic. I've heard people jokingly say that if Glock made a revolver, this would be it. And light rail, so bedside gun, home defense weapon, all that good stuff. Love the firearm, but I'm going to make that my number 3. All right. Now, this is a tough choice. Really, really tough choice. And basically what I'm dealing with here is, am I more apt to carry the lighter weight firearm with a larger profile, or the heavier firearm with a slimmer profile? Not to mention the fact that this firearm is highly sentimental. So I think my number 2 spot is going to have to be my RTF2. I think my Glock 19 RTF2 would have to be in my number 2 slot. Again, really cool gun. Really love this thing, and the lightweight nature of a Glock 19, the relatively small size compared to its 15-round capacity in the flush magazine. Not to mention, you put 17 and 33-round magazines in this gun. Really high capacity, great gun. But because of the sentiment of my Ed Brown, I think this fits the criteria. 45 ACP is probably not the best round for anything, but it is a great round for a lot of things. The firearm itself is sentimental, like I mentioned earlier, and I probably gave it away with that. I just personally think that this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful firearm. And so the last handgun, and I'm not including any type of AR pistols or anything like that in this video, but the last handgun that I would ever part with, as of right now, would be my Ed Brown Kobra carry. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see something else, let me know. If you have questions about something that you see on these videos, let me know. I love hearing from you all, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.